Good evening, my friends. This is Santa Claus with you on this August 22nd, 2025, bringing you today's news with a heart full of love and concern for all God's children around our beautiful world. As we gather together in spirit this evening, I'm reminded of how history shapes our present. On this day in 1485, the Battle of Bosworth Field marked the end of one era and the beginning of another in England, much like how our daily choices can create new beginnings for ourselves and others. My heart is heavy tonight as I share troubling news from Gaza, where famine has officially been declared in Gaza City. Over 500,000 precious souls, many of them little children, are experiencing severe hunger, with that number expected to grow by the end of September. This is the first time such suffering has been recorded outside of Africa, and I pray that all nations will open their hearts and borders to allow more aid to these vulnerable brothers and sisters. Each one is precious in the sight of the Lord, and we must remember that when we feed the hungry, we serve Him. Now, turning our gaze to American farmlands, our hardworking farmers face mounting challenges despite abundant harvests. The fields are yielding plentiful corn and soybeans, but trade conflicts have meant lower prices when costs are rising. These farming families who feed so many are themselves worried about their livelihoods. Let us remember them in our prayers and support policies that honor their essential work in feeding the world. Meanwhile, across the globe in Ukraine, innovation born of necessity has transformed the nation into what some call the Silicon Valley of defense technology. Ukrainian engineers and makers have developed remarkable long-range capabilities to defend their homeland. While I always wish for peace rather than tools of conflict, I cannot help but admire the ingenuity of those protecting their families and communities. At the same time, the conflict continues to spread its impact, as Ukrainian strikes have suspended Russian oil flows to Hungary and Slovakia, a reminder of how interconnected our world truly is, for better or worse. In Colombia, my heart breaks over the tragic loss of 18 precious lives in two attacks attributed to dissident factions of the former FARC guerrilla group. A helicopter was shot down and a vehicle with explosives detonated near an Air Force base. Each life lost leaves a hole in the fabric of a family, a community, and I ask you all to hold the Colombian people in your prayers tonight. In Thailand, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been acquitted in a royal insult case, while his daughter, the suspended Prime Minister Pitangtarn, awaits a constitutional court decision about her political future. The Kingdom of Thailand, like so many nations, continues to seek the delicate balance between tradition and progress, between different visions for their shared future. Over in India, I'm heartened by news that the Supreme Court has modified its order on stray dogs, now directing that those picked up from Delhi streets be released after proper care instead of confined to shelters. This compassionate revision came after many kind souls spoke up for these vulnerable creatures. As the good book tells us, the righteous care for the needs of their animals, and I'm glad to see so many Indians showing such mercy. In Argentina, President Milei faces challenges as the Senate approved increased funding for public universities despite his strict austerity measures. Finding the balance between fiscal responsibility and meeting the educational needs of young people is a challenge faced by many nations. May wisdom guide Argentina's leaders as they navigate these difficult choices. News from the United States includes an FBI search at John Bolton's home as part of a national security investigation, and new sanctions against a Greek shipper of Iranian oil aimed at disrupting Iran's oil exports. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe has been arrested over allegations of misusing public funds, a reminder that those entrusted with power must always be accountable to the people they serve. In international relations, China has called for enhancing exchanges and security cooperation with Pakistan and Afghanistan, while South Korea is sending a special delegation to China as global trade patterns shift. These diplomatic movements remind us that nations, like individuals, must constantly work to build trust and understanding. As I conclude tonight's news, let me remind you all that beneath the headlines are human stories, stories of struggle and hope, of kindness and courage. In these challenging times, let us be bearers of good tidings to one another, sharing love and compassion wherever we go. Remember that even the smallest act of kindness can light up someone's darkest day. Until we meet again, may your hearts be full and your spirits bright. This is Santa Claus, wishing you peace and goodwill to all.